relationship do you think changes the most after bariatric surgery? This might surprise you. The relationship that may change the most is the one you have with yourself. Think about it. Your health is way more than just a number on the scales. It's about your entire self, including your mind, your body, your spirit. So even though you had bariatric surgery, the focus needs to be on all areas of your life. This is especially true in the process of losing weight, as all relationships change right along with the body. Yes, even the relationship with yourself. So Dr. Connie's here. She's going to help us look at 5 ways to appreciate yourself after surgery. Don't go anywhere.
You spoke and we listened. Our chewable multivitamins are now dye-free, meeting your demand for more options. These dye-free chewables join our calcium chews and multivitamin soft chews in the dye-free lineup. Visit ProCareNow.com and use code Susan10 to save money.
Hi, I'm registered dietitian nutritionist Dr. Susan Mitchell, ex-radio dietitian turned podcaster. You're listening to the Bariatric Surgery Success podcast. Are you frustrated with all the confusion, the misinformation when it comes to nutrition for bariatric surgery? Eat this food. No, don't eat that food. Try fasting. Heck, do the keto diet. Well, maybe let's just reset your pouch. Oh, that's enough to make you give up and say, forget about it. I don't know what to do. Well, I do. I know what to do. And it matters where you get your information, especially your bariatric nutrition information. So let's cut through all the crap. Let's get to what you need to know now. Accurate nutrition that you can use day to day and get out there and live your life and do the things you want to do. And that's really why I created Bariatric Surgery Success. The podcast is for you. You're in the right place. I'm really glad that you're listening. So are you receiving my weekly newsletter, Breaking Down Nutrition? If not, sign up today on the website, breakingdownnutrition.com. This way, you'll be the first to know about giveaways or freebies, helpful tips that work, the latest podcasts, and upcoming interviews that you don't want to miss, like today's episode with Dr. Connie. Well, joining me in the studio is Atlanta-based psychologist, Dr. Connie Stapleton. And if you've been listening, you know Connie never holds back. She gets right to the core of the issues, which is really what you want. But she always shares really practical ways for you to improve your relationship with food, your relationship with other people, and most importantly, with yourself, which is exactly what we're talking about today. So you're going to find this to be really helpful. And don't forget, you can find links to Dr. Connie's website, her books, and her podcast called Bariatric Care in the show notes. Hello, Dr. Connie.
Hello, Dr. Susan. I am so glad to be with you today.
You know, I was so surprised to learn that relationship, the one that might change the most after surgery, is the one you have with yourself. I mean, we tend to think that it will be with our spouse or with our close friends. And when I think about my nutrition, and I'm really about wellness, that is keeping the whole body, the entire body healthy and well. Your health is way, way more, as you and I both talk about a lot, than a number that's on the scales. It's mind, it's body, it's spirit, it's all areas of your life. So today, I want us to focus in on ways to appreciate yourself after surgery, because I think this is really hard to do, surgery or not. So before we get into these specific tips, why, Dr. Connie, is it so hard to like yourself or love yourself, surgery or not?
Because we compare ourselves socially. You know, social media has done us in some ways, right? There are some advantages of it, but man, we don't compare ourselves to people we think look worse than we do or have less than we do. We compare ourselves to people we think look better than we do and have more than we do. And so it's very hard. And for a lot of people, you know, if you've grown up, if you were bullied at all, if you were teased about the wrong color of hair or the wrong kind of clothes or your weight, you know, it's tough. It's tough out there socially. And so if we grew up with that stuff, especially, then we internalize it. We're real hard on ourselves to begin with. So we're always comparing ourselves at a disadvantage. So we got to learn to be kinder to ourselves and to like ourselves more.
I agree with you. And I'm thinking about my husband's a physical therapist, and he always says when he's working with people that we tend to look at ourselves and the worst traits that we have. And we compare these to the best traits that everyone else has. So you're always losing no matter what. When you compare your worst to your best, it's never on the equal footing.
Exactly. And we can do ourselves a huge favor. We boost other people up, right? We boost our children up. We boost our friends up. We boost our neighbors up. We can do ourselves a big favor and do ourselves some emotional and, boosting up of our own selves and appreciation, liking ourselves more, looking at our good traits as well.
I agree. So let's start broad and now get more specific. What's first from the standpoint of your overall lifestyle and the effort that goes into this appreciation of yourself? And why does this lifestyle even matter to begin with?
Well, if you want to have a healthy lifestyle, it includes, what you eat. It includes, your amount of exercise, but it also includes how you think about yourself, how you talk to yourself. It includes your financial, responsibility level. It includes, if you make room for your spiritual aspect of your life, if you make room for your friends. So lifestyle incorporates all of it. But what we tend to do, like you just said, and your husband says too, is we look at what we don't do. So it's important that when you look at your lifestyle, all the areas of your life, you say something good about yourself and you put some effort into doing something kind every day. So
I love it. Giving back.
Being kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself and kind to others every day. It'll make you feel better all the way around.
I totally agree. And it's so hard, I think, to say, "Atta girl" or "Atta boy, you did a great job." And I know you had other examples of things like you were mentioning the financials, which is big for people, like paying off a credit card and other things about completing your workout, things like this that fit into this lifestyle that you're talking about, right?
Right. And the bottom line is give yourself credit. I mean, we can tell ourselves all day long, well, today I didn't get my protein in, or I didn't get all my water in. Well, if you did get most of your water in, say, good for me, that's an improvement over yesterday. Or I love to say something kind to the cashier. Every time I go to a store, just something kind. Or to somebody in the parking lot, like, "Oh man, your hair looks great."
I love that.
Every time you do that, not only are you giving somebody else a genuine compliment, by noticing them, but you feel good about yourself for that kind of effort. So put some effort into just extraordinary kindness toward yourself and giving yourself kindness and credit for what you're doing well, as opposed to always pointing out what we're not doing well.
So I'm thinking about self-care, like you said, because you want us to empower others. And I always believe in giving back. And that nice thing you say that one time might be the only positive thing someone hears that entire day. And they may remember that someone said, "Oh, she thought I looked pretty good." So I think that's so important. At the same time, where does self-care fit into appreciating yourself and appreciating the relationship with yourself?
Again, we spend a lot of time caring for others. We put effort into sending cards or saying kind things to the people in our lives, or bolstering them, or taking time on the phone to listen to somebody's issues. But what about taking that time for themselves? And I think you and I were talking earlier, and we're at a stage in our lives where it's like, wow, we've got to take care of ourselves, and whatever that looks like. And for me, I went on a girls' trip with my daughters and daughter-in-law this weekend, and we read, we sat around, we played card games. It was just taking that time to nurture yourself and the people in your life. So it could mean, rather than taking a quick shower, take a bath. Listen to a podcast while you're in the tub. Don't scroll on social media. Maybe take your cup of morning coffee or tea and go sit outside. There's a lot of science that says just being outside in nature calms our energy levels down and gives us just a pause and maybe a moment to say, wow, I didn't realize how fully spring has sprung and how beautiful it is right now. Or,
Agreed.
a lot of towns will put out these things at the beginning of the month, like what's going on? Is there a festival you might want to attend? Or maybe there's a off-Broadway show that you'd like to go to, or maybe, that's not your thing, but you can look in these various, city things and find out what's going on and what might I like to do. And maybe ask a friend to go with you, or maybe just take some time. I signed up for the botanical gardens. I'm going to take myself to the botanical gardens several times this summer and just enjoy the beauty and the serenity of the place by myself. So
I love this.
Self-care, increase it, friends. You have to make time.
And so I'm thinking, as others are probably saying to themselves too, I hear you. I love all these ideas. They just sound so wonderful. But why is it so hard to allow ourselves this actual time in our schedules to enjoy it? Instead, we tell ourselves things like, you know what, we need to work on this project today. Or, gosh, I haven't done laundry in forever. The bathrooms are just stinky. Whatever it is, instead of playtime, why is playtime so hard for ourselves to say and allow ourselves it's okay to do this?
Because just like we put ourselves on the bottom rung of the ladder when we compare ourselves to others, we do the same thing with our time. We prioritize other people because maybe we don't think we deserve that time, or we're going to take time away from something else that's important. And that is true, right? Our time is allotted. It is a commodity that we have limited amounts of. And so we have to make an extra effort to prioritize ourselves and schedule ourselves in. And that's so hard for people because we think it's selfish. But when we're depleted, we don't have as much to give others, and we hear it all the time. But until you take some time to experience that, the truth of that, it may be more difficult. But once you do, you're like, you know what? That other stuff isn't all that important. And this has to do with relationship with self. The more I prioritize myself, the more important I realize I am. And that's a good thing, not a selfish thing. There's healthy selfish and there's unhealthy selfish. We want to be healthy selfish.
I love that. Well, we'll be back in just a moment. We'll talk about how enriching our relationships with others actually affects how you appreciate yourself. So stay with us.
Bariatric Surgery Success is thrilled to partner with New Hope Girls, Women Empowering Women. They offer a discount to our community. Code TRANSFORM to save 15% and celebrate our shared commitment to transformation. Shop their beautiful bags at newhopegirls.com.
So, Dr. Connie, does enriching other relationships, like with your spouse, your best friends, whatever, improve the way you look at yourself, the way you appreciate yourself? And if so, why so?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And the answer is it depends. Who are you surrounding yourself with? So are you surrounding yourself with people who are going to complain and bemoan all the things going on in their lives? And even if they have real things to bemoan about, are they saying, yeah, this is difficult and this is difficult, but look what I have to be grateful for as well. And this is what I'm doing about that. So are you surrounding yourself with people who are living in a vat of negativity, or who are saying, yeah, this is real life. It's not all peachy and sunny, but these are the good things that I have going on in my life. So if you enrich the relationships that are nurturing and healthy and staying focused on positive, not in an unrealistic way, but in a, life can be difficult.
Yeah.
And yet, right, that kind of way, those relationships are nurturing. So be mindful of what relationships you're nurturing. Just like you have to be mindful of what foods you're putting in your body, what liquids you're putting in your body. Be mindful of putting the healthier energy into healthier relationships, which, Mother Teresa is one of my favorite people. And she said something like, and I'm paraphrasing, but if you want to heal the world, go home and spend time with your family. Those relationships matter. Now, I have some toxicity in my extended family, but in my immediate family, I work to really nurture those relationships and work on those being the healthiest ones they can be.
So when you say
So
enrich
nurture
those relationships, yeah. So when you say enrich them, give us some examples. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like spend time. Like I said, my daughters and my daughter-in-law, they all have kids. Their lives are busy. We spend a lot of time with those kids. But our relationships as adult women are critical too. So every year we go on this annual trip and we drive. And so we spend a lot of time talking in the car and we play games. So you spend time in not stressful environments. Take those kids or those grandkids to the park. Go for a walk. Talk about nature, right?
Right.
If you have a significant other, lives get so busy. Plan a dang date. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Go to the coffee shop, sit outside on a table, put the electronics away, and have what's called a conversation.
I love that.
Right?
Because
and if you struggle,
yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was going to say, I'm thinking just right with what you said. It's just so easy to get stuck in a rut, do what you've always done, and of course, get the same old result. And then that makes you even feel worse about yourself. So I'm listening to what you say, and this is really how you change this rut up, if you will. You push yourself out of the rut by starting these things that you're talking about. But you also have to push yourself out of the rut, right? In terms of taking personal risks. Yeah. Talk about that.
For sure. It's like, my life is dull. It's Groundhog's Day. Same thing. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about it? Because one of my favorite things is Mel Robbins' little podcast on YouTube. Nobody's coming to change your life. So if you don't like it, what are you going to do about it? Take a risk. Maybe you like to go for a walk, which I do. Go to a Zumba class, right? Take a risk. Try something new. And if you're too afraid to do it at the studio, do it at home. Just do something different. Or, they have these meetups, these meetup groups in all the local areas. Maybe you're interested in gardening, but don't have a clue. Go to a meetup group. Find some new people to talk to about something you really enjoy. They have all kinds of fun things for girl dates, if you want to go out with your girlfriends or take your partner to. It could be a painting class or maybe a cooking class. I want to learn how to cook really healthy, nutritious foods. Or maybe it's a sewing class. Or hire Chef Henry to come into your house and have a cooking party of healthy foods. There's all kinds of fun things.
So after surgery, what holds you back? What holds you back from moving forward and really learning to appreciate yourself? And I'm thinking specifically about, where does the negative self-talk fit in here? Like, I don't feel like going. I don't look good. People are going to bully me. I don't like what's being said, or I'm just not comfortable yet. When everyone's so wonderful and to be appreciated exactly where you are. But that seems like the negative self-talk holds you back.
Right. And we have to be very firm and real about this, because my friends, regardless of your childhood, regardless of the messages you got from the outside world or continue to get from the outside world, guess where self-talk originates? With self.
With self.
So if I want to improve my relationship with myself, if I want to have a better life, if I want to nurture relationships, if I want to spend more time in self-care, then it has to originate in here with my self-talk, with my self-decisions, with my self-worth. I am worth it, just like my friend is worth it, just like my child is worth it, just like my partner is worth it. I am worth it. And instead of saying, well, I'm trying, which is a kind of a passive term, say the word I'm doing. It's so much more empowering. I am doing this. I have room for improvement, but by golly, I am doing it, because change results in change.
Agreed.
No change results in no change.
So what if you just can't seem to make progress appreciating yourself? When is it time to talk to someone, and what do you suggest?
That's a great question, which you answered in your intro there. The answer is, when is it time? Is when you can't make progress, when you feel stuck, when you're like, I know all the things to do, but I'm having trouble employing them. I'm having trouble implementing them. It's like, I know what to do, but I need I need a little boost. So maybe you get a coach. Maybe it's a bariatric coach or a life coach or a health coach, and they help you with goal setting and they help you with accountability. Maybe it's deeper stuff, like I just can't get the voice of my mother, brother, teacher out of my head with that negative reel. Maybe you need to do a little bit of therapy and learn to change the narrative. Maybe it's, I want to do what Dr. Susan teaches me in the healthy food department, but I'm really struggling with the nighttime eating. Maybe you need to get a bariatric dietitian and or a bariatric therapist and or a bariatric coach and or a personal trainer. Get the help that you need. I listened to something last night, and it was about how we are so reluctant to seek help for ourselves, but we think nothing of telling other people, get some help. My gosh, get some help. But to say I need help and how
much harder.
That's really, it's really much harder. But they were in this thing I was reading, it was really like, that is a very selfish and vain perspective. Like, I should have it all together. It's okay for you not to, but I should have it. No, that's not a healthy approach. So humble ourselves and realize we are all human. We all need help in other areas. And why? What a relief it is to say, I need help.
I love it. Thank you so much. I always appreciate your time. And I love what you just said, that we are all human and that it's okay to say, I need help, and I need help working through, whether it's a coach or a dietitian or mental health counseling, whatever it happens to be. It's okay. If that's what it takes to help you move forward, then go for it, because this time you've gone through so much with the surgery. So always, Connie, I appreciate the in-depth information you give us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Dr. Susan. And I just always respect and admire and get a lot out of what you put out there too. I was sharing with Dr. Susan my cholesterol, and she had just put out this thing on healthy foods for fighting cholesterol. I'm like, oh, the timing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So remember, we all need a little help and a little work along the way, and that's totally okay. So appreciate yourself today, because you are worth it.
Bariatric Surgery Success with dietitian Dr. Susan Mitchell is produced and owned by Practicalories, LLC. All rights reserved. Remember, the content provided on this podcast is for information purposes only and doesn't create a patient-provider relationship. It's intended to provide reference material and is not designed to provide medical advice. Please consult your healthcare provider regarding any medical issues you have relating to symptoms, conditions, diseases, diagnosis, treatments, and side effects. Podcast guests express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions which do not necessarily reflect or agree with the host, Dr. Susan Mitchell, or Practicalories, LLC.